You ever feel like standing still has become the scariest thing a famous person can do? Not failure, not scandal, just stopping. Staying where you are. Deciding that the attention you've already earned is enough. Because somewhere in the last decade, fame stopped being a destination and became a form of capital. And capital that isn't invested depreciates. You don't get to just have it anymore. You have to do something with it. Something bigger, something more, something that justifies the size of the platform you're standing on. So the film star runs for office. The internet personality becomes the political operative. The celebrity becomes the institution. Not because they got greedy, because the logic of visibility now demands it. Standing still in the attention economy isn't rest, it's decay. But here's what's strange. Watch what happens at the other end of that pipeline. Watch what power looks like once it's fully consolidated. It disappears. So here's what's interesting. Vijay has been the biggest film star in Tamil Nadu for 30 years. Not famous, beloved. The kind of famous where people name their children after your characters and fast on your birthday. This week, his Wikipedia page spiked nearly 4,000%. Not because of a movie, because his political party is about to win the state election. 30 years of devotion converting into votes. Fandom as voter registration. The most visible man in Tamil Nadu is about to become the most powerful. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos paid $10 million to sponsor the Met Gala, the first tech figure ever to serve as lead chair. He and Zuckerberg both attended. Neither walked the red carpet. They entered through a side door. Sanchez walked it for them. Outside, protesters scattered fake urine samples. Inside, fashion's annual hierarchy pageant had been quietly purchased by Silicon Valley, while the stairs stayed intact and the cameras kept rolling for everyone else. Think about that pairing for a moment. Vijay is sprinting toward power, converting every unit of visibility he has into political force. Bezos has so much power, he can buy the most photographed event in the world and not bother to be photographed at it. One man needs the camera desperately. The other has moved past needing it entirely. They're not opposites. They're the same journey at different stages. And then there's Lena Dunham's Famesick, climbing the bestseller charts this week. Her autopsy of what fame costs the people who can't complete the conversion. What it feels like to be stuck in the middle. Visible enough to be consumed, not powerful enough to disappear. Now here's the turn. What's being expressed everywhere you look is the hunger for escalation. The belief that visibility, properly leveraged, becomes something more durable. Something that doesn't require constant maintenance. We find it intoxicating. Watching Vijay convert fandom into governance. Watching anyone refuse the cage of their category. But here's what's repressed underneath that admiration. The terror that the conversion always costs something essential. That the process of turning yourself into a force requires burning the thing that made people love you in the first place. Vijay the actor, the one people fasted for, may not survive Vijay the chief minister. And we know this, and we watch anyway. Because the alternative, staying still, staying famous, staying content, looks, from inside the attention economy, like giving up. The integration isn't a solution, it's a question. What would it mean to be powerful without being consumed by the machinery of power? To have influence that doesn't require your face, your brand, your constant presence, but also doesn't require buying the event and going in through the side door. Nobody has answered this yet, which is why we keep watching people try. The German sociologist Max Weber spent his final years obsessed with charisma, not as a compliment, but as a problem. He identified 3 sources of legitimate authority. Tradition. You lead because your father led. Rational legal. You lead because the rules say so. And charismatic. You lead because something about you makes people believe. But Weber saw charisma as inherently unstable. The charismatic leader exists outside institutions, derives power from personal magnetism, and faces a constant crisis. Charisma cannot be inherited, cannot be routinized, cannot be turned off. It must perpetually escalate, or it dies. Weber called the process of trying to make charisma permanent routinization. The leader builds institutions, consolidates power, attempts to make the lightning structural. And he noted it almost always fails, or succeeds so completely that the original charisma becomes unnecessary. The leader either burns out, gets consumed, or achieves what Bezos has achieved: power so thoroughly institutionalized, it no longer needs a face. Vijay is at the beginning of this process. Bezos is at the end. The side door is what routinization looks like when it's complete. Which brings me to a film. The Candidate, directed by Michael Ritchie in 1972. Robert Redford plays Bill McKay, handsome, idealistic, running for Senate because he's told he can't possibly win, which means he can say whatever he actually believes. But then something happens. He starts winning. And to keep winning, he starts softening, smoothing. The idealist becomes the candidate, becomes the machine. Watch the final scene. McKay has just won, impossibly, and he pulls his campaign manager into a hotel room, the noise of the victory party bleeding under the door. And Redford looks at him, almost whispers, "What do we do now?" The question swallows the screen. That's the hinge. That's the exact moment between Vijay and Bezos, between the person sprinting toward power and the person who bought the gala and went in through the side door. McKay has just crossed from one world into the other and doesn't know it yet. The charisma that won the election is already becoming a liability. The machinery is already taking over. He got what he wanted. The camera will stop needing him soon. The warmth feels like purpose. The side door is later. Stay curious, read widely, make something real. This has been the Zeitgeist Whisperer.